Oh! Perfect form, peak conditioning, and then suddenly everything goes wrong. Today, we're breaking down and reacting to real Olympic injuries. Let's dive right in.
Finalne skupine, Filc je na notranji progi v ospredju, še vedno Filc,
Oh.
ki ga je zaprl in grozovit pad.
Landed hard on his face, causing a traumatic brain injury where he ended up having a subarachnoid and a subdural bleed. Subdurals you might need to get evacuated so you can open up the skull and get those out. The subarachnoid, you cannot do that. Sometimes aneurysms will cause subarachnoid bleeds.
The Chinese skater on the outside.
Oh.
And it's a lot of contact. Oh.
Oh.
Ball down. Bradbury is going to come through and win gold. Stephen Bradbury.
Slipped and then slammed their backs and maybe head into the walls. You'd run the risk of having a fracture of a rib, bruised ribs, bruised lung, head injuries, concussions. We don't like bruised lungs because there's blood in the lung tissue itself. Not good for gas exchange.
Great strategies, just sitting in the back, waiting for things to happen. And quite possibly gold medal.
They all got lucky. I don't think anybody got injured. If high pressure situations like this, intense competition, spike your stress levels, you're not alone. It's actually why I created Chillax, to help calm racing thoughts when adrenaline takes over. Check it out at lifehappens.com or on Amazon.
Olympic Winter Games gold medal. 1936, our first winters. 2 bronze medals. Stephen Bradbury. Has he won gold?
This could have led to a lot of other injuries. They all put their arms out to brace themselves, but they didn't fall on their wrist per se. If you fall directly on your wrist and take all that weight, you can have a fall of outstretched arm and something called a fouche that we talk about in the business. Snap one of the distal bones of your forearm. Oh! In figure skating, they have a almost like serrated edge on the front. It can catch sometimes, and it caught, dropped her straight down, smacked her face on the ground as well as her chest. You can have a bruised sternum, you can have bruised lungs, you can collapse a lung, but unlikely with that type of dispersed kind of trauma.
Steuer picked her up and carried her off to a ringside doctor who confirmed the pair had to withdraw from the competition.
The chin right on the ground, lacerate right underneath. You can fracture a jaw, but not that common from that angle. Sometimes if your tongue is in the way, you can actually bite your own tongue, or you can kind of hit into your own teeth and cause dental destruction as well.
Ismail on the left of the screen is running very, very quickly. And inside of Lewis,
that's the worst. Hamstring gone. The muscle belly ruptured of the hamstring in the back. Quite common with big kicks like that. Usually it just takes time for it to reheal. Usually there's not going to be surgery for this.
And an important member of that British 4x400 meter.
The body is telling you to stop. That's the pain signal. The rest of the leg is still attached. The other muscles are still attached, but that muscle is not firing the way that it should.
It would be one of the most haunting and memorable moments of the games.
Oh, extended too far. Oof. Head injury to the back of the scalp, mild concussion, maybe dizzy, lightheaded. Ended up having a laceration to the scalp and had about 5 sutures, stitches put into place. Depending on the injury, they may get a CT scan of the head. They may not. Just depends on the individual. Depends on the neuro symptoms. Ow. If this were to happen to you, remember direct pressure to the area to get the bleeding to slow down and stop. If you do use tissue, gauze, that sort of thing, make sure it's a little bit wet, only because if it's dry and then you leave it on there and then it dries on there, it's gonna be painful to pull off. Any of you out there do this, uneven bars or the single bar, let me know. Whoa, oh! Oh, she's unconscious.
I did not see that coming.
Unconscious or not alert, passed out, and you had a possible head injury, you need to stabilize the neck.
Look at that neck!
Yeah. She is not awake. Rolling her over like that, I wouldn't do that. It's kind of floppy, and if there was a cervical spine injury, it could have potentially made it worse. You need to just hold the head and rotate it over at the same time the body is going, so that way there's no torque on the neck itself. This ended up being a head injury, concussion with a loss of consciousness greater than 30 seconds. Anytime somebody has a head injury, we want to know, did you lose consciousness or not? Because it gives us a sense of what happened to your brain.
What happened?
Okay, eyes are open. That is good. People who get concussions, it can be a loss of consciousness, it can be dizziness, seeing stars, headache, nausea, vomiting, altered mental status, inability to walk, a lot of these other symptoms. Typically, the next evaluation, given that injury, should be at a medical facility getting images of the head. With that type of loss of consciousness, you need to make sure that there's no bleeding. You can have a lucid interval where you wake up, you feel fine, you feel great, and then later when the bleeding gets worse, you become unconscious again.
During one of these runs, he hit a bump on the slope that sent him off course. Bochatay collided with a snowcat parked on the slope, resulting in fatal injuries.
No way. The helmet comes flying off. How did he hit into the cat? Was it a head injury? Was it major trauma to the thoracic and abdominal cavity? Did he bleed out on the inside versus traumatic brain injury? Those are the type of injuries that you think of. And of course, this wasn't even in competition. This was just warming up or getting practice runs in. Oh my gosh.
Обычная физкультура — это совсем не одно и то же.
Okay, all right. Oh, whoa, 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 the arm's not supposed to go that way. Arms? What's probably happening is there's a posterior dislocation of that elbow. There's always a chance that there is a fracture to it, but what ends up happening is that the olecranon, when you dislocate it posteriorly, it comes out and shifts forward. So all you need to do is get this hinge down and back in the spot again.
In stature and in throws.
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
He's broken down.
Ended up having like instability of that ankle because the track is soft. So when you planted all that weight, it actually gave and strained in such an area. You increase the risk of rupturing tendons and ligaments and causing further damage to that ankle that will continue to be weak if it's not stabilized by tape. Nice. Oh, ow. Ended up having a high-grade hamstring tear. The muscles in the back of your leg. If you have a muscle tear, then you'll see a lot of bruising to the area and swelling. If you have a tendon tear of that muscle, then you're gonna have it balled up and you're gonna be missing or having like an empty space. These athletes are at the top of their game. They're always trying to get the world record. So they're always pushing themselves with the great potential feats that they're doing. Also, you know, comes really great risk. If you enjoyed this video, definitely check out this playlist right here. Binge watch everything. And please do me a favor, subscribe, turn on your bell notifications, and hit that like button for me. Thank you so much for watching, and stay healthy, my friends.